Howdy everyone. Back out in the garage, you can see that I am now fitting the wing fairings to the fuselage / wing area. It's very simple to do. There really isn't any hang-ups or glitches or anything that I've found so far, at least with this one. I've not done the other side yet. So I just started out very simply by putting the fairing in place. It's already pre-drilled, so you can start matching the pre-drilled holes in the fairing to the existing holes in the wing. Hopefully when you riveted this rib on the wing, you got the correct holes. You left the correct locations open. You hopefully won't find any rivets in these locations. So there's a hole here I still need to drill, but these other holes are already matched to the wing. So you can go ahead and lay those clecos in. Pay attention to your gap. You can see I've got a lot of gap through here, and then it gets tight right in here. I mean, there's still more than a 1/16 clearance, but you can see that there's definitely a difference between this gap in here and the gap up in here. But nowhere along this entire length on the top or the bottom, I didn't have any interference. The gap varied a little bit, but nothing was so tight that I couldn't get it on. So let me go around to the front. So this hole here, as you come from the trailing edge forward, this hole, there's a screw in this location. So this hole will make use of that screw. So I didn't do anything with it. And then I just went ahead and followed my way down with the clecos. Now, the holes in the wings stop here. You've got this hole here that picks up this screw, which is already underneath, so I don't have to do anything with that one. Once you get up here, the holes are pre-punched in this, but there are no holes in your fuel tank. So you have to match drill these holes into this. And all I did literally was I wanted to make sure that this laid nice and flat. So I just held it down flat, drilled the hole, match drilled the hole, put the cleco in. Then I went ahead and I held it down flat, drilled cleco, held it down flat, nice and tight, drilled and clecoed, drill cleco, drill cleco. At this point, you can see everything laid really nice through here. It's nice and in line with the row of rivets that's right next to it. With that cleco in place, the next thing that I did, if you come up underneath the wing, let me lay down here. Okay, so this is the leading edge here. I'm underneath the wing, and then this goes back to the trailing edge. Just like on top, there's a hole right here, a pre-drilled hole that shares an existing screw. So at this point, I laid underneath the wing, and I pulled the skin. I removed this screw from the fuel tank. I took this screw out. I pulled the fairing tight, and I pulled it back until I can get that screw through it. Now, of course, you have to pre-drill the hole in the fairing for this number 8 screw, which is a number 19 drill bit. So you have to pre-drill this particular hole to a number 19. After you have your clecos on top up here done, pull the fairing around and pull it back nice and tight until you can get that screw back in. At that point, this entire fairing is now in alignment. And this particular one laid perfectly flat. I didn't have to do anything. The gaps between it and the wing all the way around are perfect. So at that point, again, it was just a matter of holding it down tight, and drill cleco. Hold it down tight, drill cleco. And again, I just worked from where I left off. I came around from the top, I did this one, then this one, just worked my way back. And then at this point, I'm going to flip around here a little bit. Okay, so here's the fairing. Again, I'm underneath the airplane. Here's the fairing. This is the wing. This is the fuselage. Again, you had to pay attention to your gaps. There's a little bit of a gap here. The gap's pretty uniform underneath, so I'm okay with that. Now there is a black rubber seal that needs to fit in here, and the instructions say that you can have a gap of no less than 3/16, I believe it is. So of course I'm going to come through with a marker, and I'll mark the areas that need to be opened up a little bit. It might get a little bit tight in here. I may have to file this back a little bit. That area on the top that I showed you where it was getting tight, I'll have to open that up as well. But first you want to get it in place. Once you have it completely clecoed in place, then you can come back and mark any locations that you feel need to be opened up a little bit. All right, so moving back. So now, let me get my reflection out of the way. If you recall, we had drawn these black reference lines, and we put a little tick mark on each one, which measured 3 inches from the existing hole. There's another hole on the wing skin under here. You measured from that hole out. I did 3 inches and make a mark, and then I drew a nice long line. So now what you do is you lay your ruler along these nice long lines, and you measure from that tick mark back to your 3 inches, make a mark there, and that's where you drill the hole in this skin. There are no pre-drilled holes in the fuselage skin. That's why you do these measurements here, and I talked about those in another video. So I used a plastic ruler so it would lay along the line, and then it would jump up over this step and lay across the skin. It was nice and flexible. So again, you just lay your ruler along the nice long line, this line here, just lay it along the entire length of the line up over onto your fuselage skin. Line up your tick mark that you had drawn here, come over 3 inches, make a mark, and then you can do that for each line location. There's quite a few of them. You can see them hopefully through here. Once you have each of those located, what I chose to do, I chose a small drill bit, something smaller than these are number 40s. So something smaller than that I used to drill the initial hole in each of these. And fortunately, you could tell it found the hole that's on this skin underneath here. So I already had like a pilot hole, if you will, for each one of these with the small drill bit. Then I came back with the number 40 and drilled it to full size. And it went right into the existing hole of this skin. Now they don't have to be exactly perfect. There was one that after I marked the hole locations, I came back with a center punch and center punched it. The center punch must have moved, because when I went up with the small drill bit, I felt it kind of want to drag, almost like the hole on the other side didn't quite match it. And then when I went through with the bigger drill bit, the number 40 drill bit, I can tell as it went in, it kind of wanted to center itself on the existing hole in this skin. All of that is okay, because all of these have to be opened up to a number 19 for a number 8 screw, if I remember correctly. So you have to open up all these holes anyway. So if you're not exactly perfect, that's fine. You just don't want to have two individual holes. A hole on this skin that does not match the hole on this skin. So that's the idea behind that. So this side is all done. I've got everything clecoed underneath. I've got all of the fuselage to wing skin holes done and clecoed. And I've got the fairing is all done and clecoed. Let me get out from underneath the plane. So here's how the fairing comes around from the bottom. I've got that all drilled and clecoed. The only thing that I need to do now is I have to, this hole is already accounted for, the screw is underneath. There's a hole down there that I have to drill like I showed you in the beginning. And then I'm going to come through these areas through here where it gets way too tight for that rubber seal to fit. I'm just going to mark through here with a marker that I have to open up these tight areas a little bit. And then this thing will all come apart. I'm not going to do any more with it out here in the garage. I'll disassemble everything, take it back in the shop. And then I can, before this gets assembled permanently, of course, all of these have to be opened up for a number 8 screw. Things need to be dimpled and countersunk and all that stuff. And that will be done after the fact in the shop. Obviously, you can't get in these areas with the wing on the fuselage anyway to do any dimpling. So that's it for this side. I'm going to start on this other side next. I started with the clecos. I just have some clecos there. So next up, like I said, I'll just push this down nice and tight. Drill it. Well, this has got the screw underneath, so I bypass that one. I'll just come to this one here. And I'll just hold the skin down nice and tight. I'll drill it in cleco, then I'll come down, do the next one, till I run out of holes. I will pre-drill this hole up to a number 19 drill bit, and then I'll take that and I'll bend it underneath the wing. I'll take it underneath the wing to the screw that's underneath. I'll take that screw out. I'll bend this around under the wing, and then I'll put that screw through that pre-drilled hole back into the spar underneath. That pulls all of this nice and tight. And then I'll do the same thing underneath. I'll just use a small drill bit, hit those pre-punched holes that are in the fairing, and then open them up one at a time to the number 40 and cleco as I go. And then I'll do the wing skin to the fuselage using the black lines that I had showed you earlier. So that's the process that I used. Worked great on the other side. I have no doubt it's going to work great on this side. And the fairings will be complete at this point. After this, I'm going to do the fuel line connections between the fuselage and the wing. And I believe that's it. Once those are done, I can disassemble everything and I can take all this back into the garage, or take it out of the garage back into the shop and go from there. All right, talk to you guys soon.